السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Please sit down. Yes, boys. First of all, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, our subject today faith in the day of judgment and faith, good and evil. So the lesson of today, inshallah ta'ala, faith al-Iman, faith in the day of judgment and fate, القدر, القضاء, good and evil, خيره من شره. الإيمان باليوم الآخر والقضاء والقدر خيره من شره. You know, in the last session we were talking about faith in Allah's Messenger and His books, right? And we came to know how Satan invaded the happy state of man. He decided to lure him, and he won against the fancy people. The fancy people, they were attracted by his scheme. But those who used to have strong faith were not affected at all. And then we mentioned that because he lured them through showing how to draw the images and the pictures of the pious people who passed away, then the thing has been, progressed. He showed them how to draw or how to make statues and idols. And people in course of time started to worship them instead of Allah. So this brought out the displeasure of Allah. Then Almighty Allah has sent the punishment for them in a form of nature disasters. Then Almighty Allah has sent His prophets to warn them. And we mentioned that we Muslims believe in all the prophets of Allah. We mentioned some of the functions of the prophets. We came to know that the prophets, they speak in the name of Allah. The Quran has mentioned the names of 25 prophets, but the prophets are, their number is so big, only God knows. Maybe there are more than 1 million. In one of the books he wrote, there are more than 1 million. Almighty Allah has sent from Adam till Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with them all, has sent more than 1 million prophets and messengers. But the Quran has mentioned the names of 25 only, and we came to know the names of those 25. Then now we will continue, inshallah ta'ala, faith in the books of Allah. And we believe in all the books of Allah. In the previous lesson, I read the verse from the Holy Quran, the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله. كتبه, it means we believe in all the books of Allah. And the messenger of Allah believed, and so did the believers. Each one of them believed in Allah, His books, His angels, His messengers. It means the Muslim believes in all the books of Allah. All right, let's see now. Who can explain this point? Faith in the books of Allah. Shiraz?
Allah sent prophets at different times. These prophets spoke in Allah's name. They taught people how to live on this earth. Allah gave these prophets books. These books were holy. A Muslim should believe in all the books of Allah.
Yes. We believe in all the books of Allah because they take us from the darkness of evil into the light of truth. The prophets, they speak in Allah's name. So they are the doing of good, and they are teaching us how to live good life. A life which leads us to paradise, inshallah ta'ala. All right, we're talking about the books of Allah. So who can mention the names of the sacred books of Allah and their number? Please, Raqib.
Just as there were numerous prophets, so there were numerous books of Allah, the holy records of Allah's messages. The Quran speaks of them sometimes as books, leaves, or sheets. The Quran says Allah gave the Zabur, song in praise of Allah, to Prophet Dawud al-Salam. Indeed, we did grace Zabur and Dawud with our favor. O ye mountains, sing with him the song in praise of Allah. And likewise your birds. The Quran says Allah gave the Torah to Prophet Musa salam. And the Quran says Allah gave the Suhuf, leaves of books, to Prophet Ibrahim and Musa. Allah gave the Injil to Prophet Isa salam. And the Quran to our Prophet Muhammad salam, who is the final messenger to mankind and Allah's mercy to all creatures.
Good. Thank you, Raqib. You know, we were telling that there are many prophets. Since there were many prophets, also there were many books. Almighty Allah sent many books. Those books, Az-Zabur, Almighty Allah has given it to Dawood alayhi salam. Suhuf, the leaves, to Ibrahim and Musa. And Almighty Allah gave At-Tawrah to Musa alayhi salam, and Al-Injil to Isa alayhi salam. And at the end, Almighty Allah has given the Holy Quran to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And as we mentioned, we believe in all the books of Allah. All right, the next point which we have for today, the belief in all the sacred books of Allah. Explain. Belief in all the sacred books of Allah. Sinan?
The religion of Islam does not require not only the belief in the Quran but all the revealed books of Allah. Allah gave a book to all of the prophets. Allah gave a revealed book to all the prophets according to the needs of His people. But the Quran perfected all the former revelation, the former books which came before the Quran. The Quran is the last of the revealed books. In the Quran, Allah has laid once for all how we should live in this world. It will carry on to guide man how we should live in this world. It is the last and final message of Allah.
It means this Quran, Holy Quran, will continue to guide us till the day of resurrection. Therefore, Almighty Allah laid down each and everything in it. And after Quran, no sacred book will be sent down. After Muhammad ﷺ, no prophet will appear. He is the seer of prophets. Thank you very much. You know, regarding this point, faith in the day of judgment and faith good and evil. In Islam, we believe that someday we will die and leave everything behind. Long we may live, 70, 60, 80 years, but we will die and leave everything behind. Everything created must perish. Every human being will die. This is the teaching of the Holy Quran. Almighty Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. It means every human being is bound to taste death, and at the end all shall be brought to us. Alright, boys? So this is the thought of Al-Akhirah. This is the thought of the hereafter. We are creating this life for a time being, not permanently. So as I always say, always work for the hereafter, not for this life. Since one day you will die, and you know that, you'll be placed in your grave. Prepare for that day. This is the best thing. Better than any money, better than anything. Okay, boys? All right, let's see now. It has come, and everything created must perish. I just said it, right? Who can explain this point? Talal?
Someday we will all die and leave everything behind. Long we may live, but the life on earth is short. Also, this world that we live in will come to an end. Then every one of us will stand before Allah to be judged.
Yeah. You live for 60, 50, or 80 years. Your deeds, evil deeds, good deeds, you will stand before Allah for judgment. Each and everything you did. ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. Not a word does he utter, but there is a God ready to note it. Every word you speak, there is a God. He notes everything. Clear, boys? Now let's talk about facing death. The Holy Quran, the verses I recited, كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Facing death. Who can explain this, please? Yes, please. Anas?
The Quran says, every human being is bound to taste death, and in the end all shall be brought to us. In truth, we have come from Allah and are returning to Him. In fact, we are on a journey to heaven, our final homeland. When, where, and how will we die, only Allah knows. It is Allah's secret. Allah only knows how long we would live. But we do know that everything that is living on this earth will perish, and this life will come to an end.
We have come from Allah and we are returning to Him. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allah brought us to this life, and there will be a time, or He will take us back to Him. And He will show us, if we obey, we listen to His command, we will be admitted to His paradise. If we will not, we will be punished in hell. But it has come like this. Everyone who says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, he will enter paradise. When the people enter paradise and the rest of the people enter hell, Almighty Allah says, bring those who used to have an atom of faith. So they will come out of hell with dark faces. They will be thrown on alive in the life river. They will be given life again. They will grow like a dead small plant when it grows at the edge of the river. You know the small plant, yellow small plant, it grows at the edge of the river. Very weak. They will be very weak with face dark. So in Arabic, يدخل أهل الجنة الجنة ويدخل أهل النار النار. ثم يقول تبارك وتعالى أخرجوا إلي من في قلبه ذرة خردل من إيمان فيخرجون وقد اسودوا ويلقون في نهر الحياة فينبتون كما تنبت النبتة على ضفتي النهر ألا ترونها تنبت صفراء ملتوية. It means to say every Muslim who testifies that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, he will be admitted to paradise, but before his deeds will judge. If he did some major sins, he will be punished for that. If he used to relax his prayer, he'll be punished for that. If he used not to keep fast, he'll be punished for that. For everything, for every sin, whether he disobeyed Allah or not, he'll be punished for that. Clear, boys? Then, after he takes the punishment, he will be admitted to paradise, as I have read the hadith for you just now. The two things, paradise and hell. To enter paradise or to enter hell. In paradise, of course, joys and comfort. In hell, punishment. So who can mention some of the joys of paradise and some of the torments of hell? Yes, please, Rahat.
Allah is the master of the day of judgment. He will judge each one of us on that day in the presence of everybody. Can you visualize how that would be like? All the people who have ever lived on this earth will stand before Allah to be judged, and every deed of ours will find its reward. Those who believed in Allah and His messengers and did good things will be welcomed into the joys of paradise. Over there they will live forever. And those who lived far from Allah and denied His messengers and turned their back on Allah will be punished. They will be thrown into hell, the place of great suffering.
Yes. It means, in short, we can say like this. If you listen to the command of Allah, you obeyed Him, you prayed and you kept fast and all, you enjoyed what is good and you forbid what is evil, you'll be admitted to paradise. But if you deny any branch of faith, for example, you denied the existence of the messengers, prophets, or some of them, you denied the existence of some of the sacred books, if you are like this, you will be punished for that. The most ruinous sin, which will be punished for that permanently in hell, and you will be never forget, Allah will never forgive you that, to associate things with Allah. To associate things with, if you associate things with Allah, this kind of a major sin, Allah told us, will never forgive that sin. It has come in the Quran like this. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكْ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. He forgives all the sins, but not to associate things with Him. Clear, boys? All right, boys. See here the thought of the last day, the ruin of God-fearing. And when we put in mind that there is a last day, there is a day in which everybody will stand before Allah for judgment. This day, the God-fearing brings out the God-fearing. Elaborate. Who can? Who can elaborate this? Yes, please, Raqib.
Faith in life after death is one of the basic principles of Islam. The reason for giving this great importance is clear. This belief urges man towards good and noble deeds and keeps him away from doing sinful things. Our hope for heaven and fear of hell makes us eager to do good deeds for love of Allah. The thought of life after death is what makes man fear Allah even when he is alone. He discharges his duty honestly. He refrains from doing anything that is prohibited. Should he fail in any way and break the law of Allah, he is ever ready to offer sincere regrets.
Very good. It means when I understand that one day I will be asked for any evil I did, this thought will encourage me to do good and to shun evil, Because I know if I do evil, I'll be punished for that. And this is the thought of the last day. That one day we will stand before Allah and He will judge us. He will punish us for every evil deed. And He will reward us for every good deed and righteous deed. Clear, boys? You know, let's see, I want to tell you a short story. Then I want somebody to tell me in detail. You know, Allah is always watching us. He sees everybody. Not a leaf of the tree falls, but He knows it. So during the time of Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, there was a woman with her daughter. This woman wanted to have illegal money. They were selling milk. So, who can tell me this story in detail? Shu'aib?
One day Umar bin al-Khattab was out in the city of Medina to see how his people was getting along. It was dark and Umar radiallahu anhu walked slowly. Soon he stood before a house where an elderly woman and her daughter lived. Every night they used to milk their animals, sold their milk, and so they lived. When Umar radiallahu anhu passed by, he heard the mother saying, advising her daughter to add water to the milk so that it would bring them more money. The daughter, don't you know that Umar the Caliph has ordered us not to do so? Answered the God-fearing girl. The mother answered, my dear daughter, Umar the Caliph is not here to see you add water to the milk. I know the Umar the Caliph is not here to see us cheat people, but Allah is watching us. Dishonesty is forbidden in our religion. It was the thought of Akhirah that made the girl mindful of Allah.
Yes, because of the thought of the last day. This thought made the girl mindful of Allah. The mother said, add milk, add water to the milk so we can get more money. The daughter refused. She said, no. Omar said, do not do this. This is cheating. The mother said, okay, Omar is not with us now. The daughter replied, if Omar is not with us now, the creator of Omar is watching us now. Because the girl, she knows that she'll be asked for this. If she cheats, everyone who cheats, who deceives, he'll be asked for that. So this thought made her mindful of Allah. Made the girl mindful of Allah. Thank you. All right, see, what awaits us after death? We die. In this lesson, I told you, every human being is bound to taste death. So, after death, what awaits us? Yes, please? Farhan.
When a person dies, his soul does not perish. A soul is immortal. It lives. It only migrates from this world to another new world. Separated from the soul, the body is placed in its grave. It is the teaching of our faith that after the death and burial, the angels question him about his beliefs. If he is a truthful believer, he will give all the answers correct. The angels then give him the good news that he will live in peace and happiness till the last day.
Every dead body will be placed in the grave. Angels will come to question him. If the dead body turned to be a good believer, he will be able to answer all the questions. Then he will be given good news. His grave will be a part of paradise. And the good news that on the day of resurrection, he will be admitted to paradise. But if he used to have a serious rebellion against God, to deny Islam, faith, or any of the pillars of faith, he will be given bad news. His grave will be a part of hell. This is the teaching of Islam. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, Al-qabru imma rawda min riyad al-jannah wa imma hufra min hufar al-nar. The grave is a part of hell or part of paradise. Clear, boys? If you want your grave to be part of paradise, you have to work for it. You have to sacrifice. You have to not omit your salah a single time. You take care of yourself, your food, your clothes. You have to take care of your prayer, because this is the command of Allah. If you want your grave to be a part of paradise, work for it. Spend time for that. Nothing good can be achieved through laziness. If you are lazy, can you do something? Can you pass the exam if you are lazy, if you don't study? Same thing. You cannot be admitted to paradise without working for that. You need to work for that. You have to spend time. You have to enjoy what is good, forbid what is evil. Recite Quran. Do you recite Quran every day? Do you form a habit of daily recitation? I know you form a habit of daily playing and eating. But what about Quran? You prepare for this. Ask yourself these questions. Because one day you'll be asked. This is the thought of the last day. One day you'll be asked. So prepare for that day. Clear, boys? All right, regarding what awaits us after death, who can continue after Farhan? Yes, please. Where's Muhammad Ali?
If the dead turns out to be an unbeliever in a state of serious sin and obstinate rebellion against Allah, he is not able to give correct answers to the questioning angels. He is then plunged into a dreadful punishment which is not ceased till the last day. The last day, Yawm al-Akhir, means a day will come when everything on this earth will come to a sudden end.
Yes. We mentioned if the man, the dead body who is in the grave, used to have a serious rebellion against God, he will be dragged and he will be admitted later on in the hellfire, and his grave will be a part of hell, and he will be having a severe punishment in the grave. Severe punishment, unimaginable punishment in the grave. Therefore, we have to understand this point very well. Yes, I think regarding this, what awaits us, yes, who can continue, please? Yes, Ala?
When Allah will wish, all the people who have ever lived will come to life again. Every person's body will be united again to its soul. This is called the resurrection, or the day of great rising. Then Allah will judge us all in presence of everybody. Those who did not believe in Allah and His Messenger and had obstinate rebellion against Allah and committed serious sins and died without feeling sorry will be punished in hell.
Yeah. It means after death in the grave, angels will question us. And here I would like to mention one thing. The first thing you will be asked about your salah, prayer, and how you used to offer it. If you used to be good, punctual in prayer, all your deeds will be good. But if you used to be, sometimes you used to offer salah just for showing off, and your salah sometimes you offer it, sometimes not. Sometimes you go to Jum'ah prayer, sometimes not. Sometimes you offer Salat al-Fajr, sometimes not. You don't care of it. Here, it means all of your deeds will be not so good. So the first thing, you'll be asked about your Salah. So you should not omit Salah. You should not relax Salah at any cost. Salah is the best thing. Salah is the best thing offered in the sight of Allah. On time. You cannot pray whenever you feel like. You can't pray. Sometimes you have time, you go to pray, and sometimes you don't have time, no, don't pray. No. La barakallahu fi shay'in yulhi an as-salah. Allah won't bless anything which takes you away from your prayer. Allah will not bless that. Anything which takes you away from your prayer, Allah won't bless that. Therefore, the best thing is to offer salah on time. Clear, boys? Okay, now, because of this, the thought of the last day, it has come prepared now for them. It means you have to work. What for? For Day of Judgment. Who can explain this point? Prepare now for them. Sinan?
When, how, and when will we die? Only Allah knows. It is Allah's secret. But while we live, we have time to do much good to earn our rewards for the hereafter. Time is running out. Time and tide wait for no man. We are on a journey. We are rapidly running towards Allah. We are on a journey to our final homeland. The most precious thing in our possession is time. Every lost thing can be regained, but it is useless to hope for the time to return that has passed.
Thank you very much. It means we will die. But when, where, this is Allah's secret. We don't know. Therefore, you should expect death any moment. Anybody can die anytime, any moment. Death does not differentiate between big and small. You should always be ready. You should always be ready for, don't say, no, I don't want to go to pilgrimage because still I am young. No, you're not sure of your time. You don't know where you're going to die. Don't say I am young. Many young people die. Many old people die. Death does not differentiate between big and small. All right, inshallah, I think the time for this lesson is we have, I think, 1 minute or something. So I just want to remind you the important points. The important points of this lesson: everything created must perish. Every human being is bound to taste death. At the end, all shall be brought to us, to Allah. Almighty Allah said like this: all shall be brought to us. Yani inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Okay, we have come from Allah and we are returning to Him. The thought of the last day makes man behave good and do good deeds. And we mentioned the story of the mother and the daughter. The mother, she wants to cheat, but the daughter, because she has good sound of the last day, she told her that when Omar is not with us, Allah, the creator of Omar and everybody, is watching us. Okay, boys? And then after death, your grave will be a part of hell or part of paradise, and you decide that. Clear, boys? Inshallah, we'll continue in the next lesson. Thank you very much. عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sit down. Take out your books. You can open page number 31. We start with, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. The subject of today is the signs and fruit of faith. You know, the pillars of faith are 6. Number 1, to believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, last day, faith, good and evil. So when you are having, or when you have, or you believe in all these pillars, the 6, plus the 5 pillars of Islam, to testify that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, number 1. Number 2, to offer salah. Number 3, to pay zakat, the welfare contribution. Number 4, to fast in the month of Ramadan. And number 5, last, pilgrimage, Hajj, to the house, if you are able to do so. These are the 5 pillars of Islam. And the 6 pillars of faith, which we just mentioned them. So we want to discuss today the signs and fruits of this faith. Before we start, I would like to remind you of the important points which we have discussed in the last lesson. Clear, boys? In the previous lesson, we came to know that we Muslims believe in all the books of Allah. And this has come very clear in the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله. آمن الرسول, the messenger of Allah, believed. والمؤمنون, and so did the believers. كل آمن بالله, each one of them believed in Allah, His books, Allah وملائكته, His angels. آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه, His books. It means we Muslims believe in all the books which Almighty Allah has sent him down. We mentioned that Az-Zabur has been sent to Dawood alayhi salam. Al-Tawrah has been sent to Musa alayhi salam. Al-Injil has been sent to Isa alayhi salam. The leaves were given to Ibrahim and Musa alayhim as-salam, and the Quran has been given to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this Quran, Almighty Allah has laid down in it each and everything. And this Quran will continue to guide men till the day of resurrection. and it is the last book, and Muhammad ﷺ is the seals of prophets. All right, then after that, we mentioned that everything created is perished. One day, we will come to a sudden end. This world will come to a sudden end. And one day, each one of us will die and leave everything behind. We may live long or short, but one day we have to die. We will be placed in our graves. Then we'll be resurrected and meet Allah for judgment. It has come in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. Each human being is bound to taste death, and at the end all shall be brought to us. Fully true are the words of Allah. Then we mentioned some joys and suffer or torments of hell. The joys of paradise and the punishment of hell. We mentioned some of those in the previous lesson, if you know. Then we said a story during the life of during the life of Umar bin Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, when there was a woman with her daughter, and they were selling milk. So one day the woman said to her daughter, add water to the milk so they can get more money. The daughter said, no, mom, we should not do this, because Umar said, do not cheat. The mother said, Umar is not with us now. The girl said, if Umar is not with us now, Allah is watching us now. And Allah is watching us. He knows the most secret of our hearts. So the thought of the last day made the daughter mindful of Allah. Because she knows one day she will stand between the hands of Allah and she will be judged. Therefore, she was scared. And this makes one to discharge his duty honestly. Clear, boys? Before you commit or try to do something evil, remember very well, you will be asked about it. Clear? Then we mentioned what awaits us after death. We said when we be placed in our graves, the grave either to be part of paradise or part of hell. القبر إما روضة من رياض الجنة وإما حفرة من حفر النار. It depends upon your deeds. Your deeds decide. If you used to be a good believer, your grave will be a part of paradise. If you used to possess a serious rebellion against God, your grave will be a part of hell. So from now, prepare if you have to do that. Then prepare now for then. You know, we mentioned time is running out. Time and tide wait for no one. We are responsible for our own good time. Okay, boys? And now let's start the new session of today, the science and fruit of faith. Now we start with this question, make the best use of time. Take it by forelock. Who can explain this point? Raqib.
We have to make best use of time. Take it by forelock. Remember, your passing through a very important phase of your life. You are preparing for your future. Be on your guard. Develop new talents. Learn new skills. Most important of all, offer a salawat completely. Do not skip your prayers. People who relax their prayers when they give them up. Remember, school, study, and taking food and rest and other good occupations become ibadah, worship, if it is carried out with the intention to seek Allah's pleasure. It is a right intention that sanctifies our work, our joys, and our sorrows. Stay away from boys and girls who do bad things. Do not utter anything shameful. Do not do anything shameful. Remember, modesty and faith are companions.
Great. First of all, we have to make good use of our time. As I just mentioned, we are responsible for our own good time. Always make use of your time. Don't let time pass without getting something out of it. Sometimes you have to offer your salawat. Sometimes you have to study. Sometimes you have to prepare for exam. Sometimes you need rest. Sometimes you need to play some useful games. Do not waste your time. You're responsible for this. This is the most important. You will be asked about time on the Day of Judgment. Almighty Allah will say to you, you lived 60 or 70 or 80 years. What you were doing? How did you spend this time? So, from now we should make the best use of time. Clear, boys? So, I tell you how to make the best use of time. When you get up in the morning, don't miss your Fajr prayer. This is the most important. Get up on time to be able to offer Fajr prayer on time. Get ready to come to school. Before you come to school, make sure that you have all your books. You did all of your homeworks. Alright? Bring your bag and come to school. Always seek the forgiveness of Allah. For example, if you say in the morning, بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم 3 times, if you say this 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, no harm will come to you. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. يعني in the name of Allah, in whose name nothing will harm us, neither on earth nor on heavens. If we say this 3 times in the morning and evening, no harm will come to us. Also we can say, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. If you say this, suppose you reach the school and you say this, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. يعني I seek refuge with the perfect words of Allah from the evil He has created. If you say this when you enter to any place, okay, no harm will come to you until you leave that place. So this is also something excellent to say this. Then after, in the school you have to be good, you have to behave well, you have to shun the bad boys or girls, those who speak, or use bad language. Give them an advice them to stop this, and if they will listen, okay, otherwise don't sit with them, don't sit in their company, otherwise you are like them. Okay? Pay attention in the class, go back to your home, offer Salat al-Dhuhr, prepare for your next day, offer Salat al-Asr, al-Maghrib and Isha, be punctual, listen to your father and mother. If they say something to you, you should obey them. Alright, boys? Now regarding this, the best use of time, who can continue now? I want someone to continue this, please. Shiraz.
Always speak the truth even if it takes courage. Obey your parents and teachers, and do not speak the faults of others unless you have a strong reason. Get up early in the morning. Recite a portion from the Holy Quran daily. Whenever bad thoughts invade your mind, chase them away saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and quickly turn your attention to something creative and useful. Do you know an empty mind is the devil's workshop?
Yes, we know. If your mind is empty, it will be a devil workshop. So how we can have busy mind? Always do something useful. Develop a new talent. If bad thought comes in your way, seek refuge with Allah from Satan the outcast. Then turn your attention to something useful and creative. Always say the truth, even if it takes courage. You forgot your homework? Frankly, say to your teacher, sir, I forgot it. I'm sorry for that. Inshallah, I promise tomorrow I'll bring it. And he says, no, sir, I did it, but I forgot the copy at home. You are telling lie. No, you may cheat your teacher, but you can't cheat Allah. It's not good to, in front of your name, for example, Farhan, or any one of you, in front of his name to write liar. It's not good. It won't suit you, being good Muslim. These lies should be shunned. We should not speak lie at all, even if it takes courage. Clear, boys? All right, the next point we have here, everything that happens at Allah's command. Everything that happens at Allah's commands. Who can explain this point? Please, Anas.
Always remember, everything that happens at Allah's command. A Muslim believes in fate, good and evil. He also believes that everything that happens in this world is part of Allah's plan. Nothing happens by itself, and everything that happens has a meaning. But this does not mean we should not do our job. Shall I tie my camel and rely on Allah? The Prophet was once asked, or shall I not tie it and rely on Allah's will? He replied, tie it, then rely on Allah's will.
Excellent. Do your part. If you become sick, what should you do? To sit at home and seek the help of Allah? Or to consult the doctor, then ask Allah to help you? So do your part. You have to consult the doctor, then ask Allah to help you. And this man which we just mentioned, Anas, a man came to the Prophet and said, should I tie my camel and rely on Allah's will, or should I leave my camel like that and rely on Allah's will? The Prophet ﷺ said, tie it, then rely on Allah's will. It means do your part, then rely on Allah's will. Now you have to study hard. You want marks? You have to study hard. Then ask Allah to help you and bless you. Not to say, okay, I rely on Allah's will and I sit at home, I don't study, I don't concentrate in the class, then I want full mark because I trust in Allah, I believe in Allah, and I want Allah to help me. No, Allah will never help you in this way. Nothing good can be achieved through laziness. You have to be active. Okay? Alright, here, nothing good in life can be achieved through laziness. Who can elaborate this point? Sinan.
Form a habit of never being idle. Nothing good in life can be achieved with laziness. If hard time comes your way, trust Allah and instead of just sitting, do something about it. The Quran teaches us that we should never despair. There is nothing more sorrowful than to despair. We should place our trust in Allah and hope that everything will turn out to be fine in the end.
Good. You should never despair. You should never despair. Something wrong, you should have the trust on Allah. And this happens